All right, so the topic of today's presentation is Flutter Web, tips, tricks, and overcoming obstacles. It's my first presentation in Flutter ever, so I hope it will be, you will enjoy it and find that useful. So my name is Rafał Płonka. I'm a senior software engineer in Knips, and I work as a Flutter developer and also as a backend developer in my company. The Knips is like a Norwegian startup where we try to connect our clients with their customers. Using our platform, they're able to create posts and notify clients using the SMSs or emails, or also we provide them like a newsfeed that they can include into their websites. So I've been in this company for a few years right now. We started working in the Flutter mobile environment, and this has worked very well for us. And then we had the need, and actually asked from our customers to release something on web. So we started to looking more into that, especially when Flutter Web has become stable. So this is like the main screen, let's say, of our web app. What we can see here, this is all built in Flutter. We use the Go router for the navigation with usage of the shell route. This is the panel that you can see on the left side. We had this need to use the Go router to kind of migrate from the Navigator 1.0, which we used in the mobile applications, because we wanted our users to actually be able to type the URL and go into the specific page. And this is working really, really nice for us, for our use case. We don't really use like the material widgets or the widgets that has like been customized by default by the Flutter. We are making like a custom widgets our own. Sometimes it makes us to make like custom widgets. Like on the right, you can see the pop-up. This is, I think, done by the overlay, just because like Flutter has had some margin issues. So we are using heavily web views, although it's not visible in here. But this also hasn't been any problem for us on the Flutter Web. So today I wanted to share a little bit on this journey and tell you about some obstacles, some challenges that we had. Because on the mobile, of course, you can upgrade the Flutter and then have some challenges there, some fixes. But on the web, the journey is much harder to go. And I'm actually interested if anyone in this room is using the Flutter Web in production. That would be useful to know for me. Okay, few hands, right? More or less. Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit niche, and when you are in this niche, then you need to like get into the GitHub issues, basically, more or less, just to find answers. So, little facts on the Flutter Web. It gained official support on 3rd of March 2021 with 2 default renderers. HTML, this is right now deprecated. So slowly Flutter will be going out from it. And the Canvas kit. It officially supports the WebAssembly from version 3.22. So it's not that far from the one we have right now. And by the documentation, is particularly suited for app-centric experiences, page apps, or existing Flutter mobile apps. So this Flutter mobile apps, this is exactly the scenario we had that we wanted to release. Basically the same app adapted to the web on the web platform. It's not really recommended to sort of document-oriented pages like Wikipedia, where you have lots of content, text content, because of things that I will share later. A few examples of the Flutter Web that I found nice example is this Google Earth, which is displaying the Flutter component on top of the WebAssembly component when it comes to the rendering the map. So they share this code base between the mobile platform and the web platform. This is visible on the right, and in the middle we do see the super list. This is with the usage of the super editor library from the Flutter bounty hunters. So this is like kind of an app where you can make a plan for today or for the future. And this is working in Flutter in macOS, as a macOS app, as a web app, as a mobile app as well. All right, so I also recommend to check the Wondrous app/web. This is like the demo of how the Wasm is operating on the Flutter, about the demo of its performance, especially on Google Chrome. Is easily visible that it's more performant than the regular Flutter app, web app. Okay, so as I mentioned, I wanted to share a little bit on this journey. We started investigations on Flutter Web in late 2020. So we have like 2 products right now in our app. First is to create the post, but the second product is to actually display those posts on the newsfeed. And the newsfeed we also provide, and we let our users to include this newsfeed in their websites using iframes. So I started a little bit experimenting in late 2020 on this iframe thing, because we wanted to reuse the code base. We already created the posts. We had all the widgets prepared in the mobile, and we wanted to use the same code base in our newsfeed. So I encountered the issue that you couldn't basically scroll, or you couldn't make any inputs when you are including this in an iframe on the iOS Safari or mobile apps. And for us, it was a big blocker, because we wanted our end users to actually use this on their mobile browsers. And this fix was this was mega P1, like priority 1 or priority 2, but the fix for that landed like 2 years later. So for us, it was a big no when it comes to this product. We had to do something else. We created a web app in the Svelte when it comes to this second product. So it's one of the examples, like how much time could it take for the Flutter team to actually do something with this issue. But lately it's a little bit better. In the 3.27 there was an issue with the images that were black when you were setting the cache width or cache height, and this was fixed very fast in version 3.27.3. Like after a few weeks, the fix has landed, and we were able to successfully upgrade our Flutter. Okay, so I've discussed our second product, the newsfeed, but we also wanted to use the Flutter Web in our main product, which is to create the app that creates the posts. And we encountered some performance issue, especially on Safari, on iOS. Some screen. This is platform web, but platform mobile actually has the same. Lots of people were seeing that it's less performant on the Safari. And it actually makes us, it was that bad that like a few years ago, it makes us to make this very simple condition so that when you are on the mobile and you are on the web version, we display a screen where you can, if you have the app, you will be automatically redirected, or if you don't have the app, you'll have 2 buttons to go to the app stores. I did check, however, before this talk, try to remove this piece of code to see what will the performance be, and I think it improved after those years. I was able to use it kind of on the Safari version, so it became better. But still, for us right now, we have the code base prepared mostly for the web desktop and for the and for the mobile, so we'll have to do some tweaks to use that also on mobile browsers. But this is a way of going around this problem that, for example, on the Flutter Web Chrome, it will work fine, but on the mobile, it will be like less performant. But no one from our users actually has this issue. Like they are downloading the app and it's okay for them. But this is situational. For our first product, it was a big blocker. For our second product, we can go around it. Sometimes the problems are more funny, less high issues. This is actually existing still, even though it was already closed in the GitHub issue. So whenever you will try to include the emoji, colorful emoji in the like regular one in the project, you will have some input fields. People will be able to make this input. Those emojis on Flutter Web will be like very simplified. This black and white version, as in this case of the Spanish flag. And I did some research and then provided the solution on one of the issues in the Flutter, and it got some hearts, but I'm not showing. It's just the documentation is not very that much there. So, for example, here there is like a use color emoji parameter that is passed when the engine is initialized when it comes to the Flutter Web, and it's not that easily findable that you have to do it. It's not written. It will be written in this GitHub issue, but not necessarily in the Flutter documentation. Although it is a little bit changing, especially when it comes to the Wasm. I think Flutter guys are doing a good job documenting it. Yes, so this is one of the examples that you have to be prepared for. The default caching behavior. This is like one of our biggest problems we encounter with the Flutter Web so far. I've been actually discussing it for some time. Last time with Sasha when he was here in EPAM. So to try to describe how it works, we have our users, and sometimes we are doing something, and we don't want our users to use the old app. And for example, on mobile, it's very easily solvable. We can have like a remote config, set the minimum supported version there, and detect this by remote config on mobile. And if the user is using the version that is lower, then we will display the pop-up or the screen and redirect user to App Store to update the app. But on web, we thought that everything should be fine. You are just deploying a new version, and everyone who will enter the URL should see the newest one. But it was not the case. We did observe users that were entering the URL and seeing the previous version, the cached version. So another issue on GitHub, still open, although it is fixable with P2 priority, and this user has found the same thing I just described. And the Flutter team released last year, end of the year, this whole document about the Flutter service worker, that we need to remove them because of this cache behavior. So basically what it was saying, it is pretty long, is that by default Flutter was including the service worker, so kind of a file that is running also when we have the web page that is responsible for this caching behavior, and it was made for the purpose of the PWA apps, and by default, someone didn't really have the easy choice to opt out. You could make an opt-out if you will build your web applications with the PWA set to none, but if you already had the users who are using it, then this parameter wouldn't be enough because they would have already cached this file. So right now, I think the default parameter is PWA none if you will create a new Flutter project, but for us, we would needed some rescue. So the thing that is described in this document is to basically create another service worker which will kind of clear the cache that is already there, and then with combination with the CDN help to fix this issue. So this was the biggest issue we had so far with the Flutter Web, but after some time and some documents from the Flutter team last October, we were able to go around it. One important information is that it's not enough to put this file into the web folder. When you will build the project, the Flutter will take the service worker automatically from the framework. So what I've been doing is to basically first I build the web version, and then I'm copying this Flutter service worker JS into the build web folder, and then I have this clear cached service worker. So after some time, after everyone will have it, this is no longer needed. So I've discussed a little bit issues that they have, but not all of that were that much important. Very much things are fixable and doable because we are still using it. So we don't think it's bad. For us, it's working actually really good. Because we can share lots of code base between our web platform and our mobile platform. Actually, I think it's like maybe 90% of the code base that we share between those two platforms. So simple hints for the things that we were thinking about. Sometimes we needed to know which version we are, so we are including this version into the SRC. This is in the index HTML. The package info plus, it's not very useful in this Flutter Web environment. For example, we are using heavily the iframes, and we were able to communicate using JS channel very easily. This was done using the WebView Flutter Web package. This is like the official package for showing the web view on the Flutter Web, but it was missing some kind of connections between the JS and the Flutter framework. But it's very easy to include those, to fork or to extend this class with those methods, and then communicate between. In our case, for example, we are getting the information what is the height of actually the component of the WebView component, and then we are letting this information to the Flutter, and then we are doing something with this information. Sometimes you will need the conditional importing. This is an old issue, but known one. So if you will try to import some web libraries from the Dart, it won't let you because of the mobile that don't have it. But there is a way of this conditional importing to go around this problem. I do have this example of the code. So this is like an example of what we are doing when it comes to the dialogues. So for example, on the desktop version, we are detecting and then displaying the dialogues, and on the mobile we are displaying the modal bottom sheet. This is like a regular bottom sheet from the Flutter framework, and the same for the dialogue. And we are using this kind of methods in lots of places, and it's working good for us. So some small hints: when you will start the project, you will encounter this hash. This is very easily fixable by the URL strategy. This other URL strategy, this package, and it's automatically fixing it. So this is just something to remember. Okay, next thing, the dialog to refresh web. So I mentioned this. I mentioned this scenario that user is entering the URL, and then he needs the latest version. But what if the user is actually on this card by night and then coming to work in the morning and want to also use the latest version? So for that scenario, we are using like very simple thing. We have a timer, and then every 10 minutes we are actually, this is on the top, actually asking the Firebase remote config if this is the latest version, and if not, we are displaying this this kind of pop-up. It stays wherever you will go into the web page. You will see this pop-up that you can press. We didn't want to block our users from doing something. We do have other ways of going around it, but this pop-up will kind of stay with you. And for now, it's working good, and people are going into this new app. Yeah, a little bit on the routing. We are using the shell route and the Go router. What is Go router? It's a declarative routing package designed to handle navigation in Flutter applications. And the shell route we can use to kind of make up or the bottom navigation bar or like the panel on the left, like in our scenario, that will allow users to quickly navigate between the routes. So small example of this Go router. When we can probably more people are using the Go router than the Flutter Web because on mobile it's being used as well. But I will just show around. You can this very simple example. You can have the error page builder when something will go wrong, or you can have the shell route on top. Define the widget. This is like the scaffold with navbar. And then the actual routes with the pages, and this can be like very nested inside of it. And this is like a very basic scaffold with the widgets where you can switch between the routes with the context.go. So we are using it. This is a very simple example of that. On the bottom, this is the shell route. But lately, there is this traction, this new information from the Flutter team. On the top, it is like 2 commits ago, let's say, and on the bottom, it's 1 commit ago. So they're kind of put it firstly in the maintenance phase, and then they said they consider it a feature complete. And I'm talking about the Flutter because they're owner of this library. And there was a big that was a big thing in the Flutter community actually on the X, and we still don't know really what does it mean. What does it mean? It's enter the maintenance phase. What does it mean? Is considered a feature complete. I've observed that they are still, although they've released this kind of information, they are still updating the package with some fixes. So. For me, it's not that bad thing. I don't expect from the navigation library to actually do more than it's right now doing. It's working for us well, and as long as it will be updated by the community or the Flutter team with the simple fixes to adapt it to the latest Flutter, I think it's still okay and good to use. I don't consider switching right now, although there are some alternatives like the auto route package, which many people are talking about, which is, I think, working pretty similar, although you have to use the build runner to auto-generate the routing file. All right, so this is like another something you will encounter first time when you will build the app on the web, that you will want to have the text selectable, and by default this text in the text widgets is not text selectable. You would expect on the web everything to be actually selectable, but very small widget selection area that Flutter added, I don't know, version 3 maybe, fixes it. So this is no longer an issue. And something nice, something from the Flutter Bounty Hunters team is a package. This is called the Super Editor, and we've been actually using the Super Editor as well, because it allows you to have this kind of complex text editor and document renderer for Flutter, and this is by default not like possible using only the Flutter widgets, text fields. This is allowing you to basically have the document editor where you can add some widgets into your text field, and so on. So for example, the super list is using it. So I really recommend looking at it. I know that the Flutter guys are also contributing and making commits into it, but it's mostly the Matt Carroll, who is the owner of this repository, mostly known by this fork of Flutter lately. Yeah. But the super editor is good. All right, slow loading time. This is very interesting issue. Many people are thinking about it. Okay, slow loading time, does it really make sense to use the Flutter Web? And of course, I don't think we can easily go around it. I've been listening to some podcasts from the Google guys, if they are taking care of it or not. The Wasm is making it a little bit better if you compile the Flutter with the Wasm, but it's not really a high priority from the Google team, from what I learned from those podcasts, to do something. You basically have to download each time you are entering the Flutter website, download the engine, right, 2 megabytes. Maybe it will be smaller with Wasm, but not that much smaller. So one of the arguments that it's not that big deal is, for example, when you go to the Gmail, you see the splash screen with this mail as well. But there are some ways that you can do to actually make it better. One of the ways is to have like the better image compression. The second one is to have like the deferred imports, the conditional imports, to not import something that you will use later. At the beginning, some annotated methods from the libraries, maybe not everything that you are including in these first steps when you are building the app are necessary. The third point, something I found interesting, is if you have a landing page and you have a button that is like redirecting user into the Flutter, then you can firstly preload the Flutter and then have that already ready when you are going into the Flutter page. And of course, you can make some small loading, some splash screen or some spinner in this index HTML, just to show and display this to the user when they will enter your website. This is some slide, maybe not really that high relevant, but on the different topic that you can have a keyboard listener and listen to the keys that user are entering. All right, so I discussed like our biggest challenges. I've discussed some nice things, and I also want to discuss what I've learned about the future, about what's coming to Flutter Web from like listening to lots of podcasts lately about this topic. So I do know that Flutter is working on the SEO. This is by default if you will compile it in the Canvas kit, not good. I would say if you have, for example, pages and let's say you have a route docs and you would want to have that indexable, by default it won't be. But lately there was like the proposal. It's not the proposal. Like I think that what Google will be trying to go into more is to like for the users to maybe by default enable the semantics, and the semantics were mostly being used by accessibility, but they are actually making the DOM elements when you will turn it on, and the text in this DOM elements will be included in the source. So this allows the robots of the search engine to actually index those pages, and this was like the idea of this Google guy, one of the answer to try to turn it on. And I did follow this path. I saw that Google was experimenting with this Alien Hawaii page, and I did this very little demo on the top. It is visible, where I had the selectable text I've mentioned, and I did set up some sized map XML and the robots text files just for the robots to make that editable, and it was so. So when I was trying to search part of my Flutter web app page, it was visible in the Google. So this is working right now, but there is a price, and on this price, I think the Google is currently working on. So on P1, so very high, there is an issue to identify Flutter semantics performance issues, because when you turn it on and you have, for example, a long list, you will see the junks, and the more junks, the more elements you have. So I think that this is something that waits us maybe this year, that the Flutter will actually say that they enabled for everyone possibility of this SEO, because they resolved the performance issue with the semantics. The second thing I do know that the Google guys are working on, because they said it themselves in podcast, is the hot reload. Currently it is missing, so it's a little bit a problem when developing on this platform. But if you don't have like a very complex app, when you are using lots of libraries, you could just build it on Mac OS, and on desktop you will have the same, you send the sizes, and then the hot reload is working. But this is one of the priority. It's on the roadmap of the Flutter to fix this problem. Currently not, there isn't. Something that I've mentioned, this deprecation and removing of the HTML renderer, it's still open because they haven't done it for good. There is a big discussion under this thread, should they do it or not, because for some, they, for example, had integration tests that were based on this HTML renderer, because the HTML renderer is behaving a little bit different than the Canvas kit, and you have actually the DOM elements, if I remember correctly. But I think they will kill it because of the bad performance. And that leads us to this Wasm topic. Lately it was released as a stable thing on the Flutter. So as a definition, what is Wasm? WebAssembly, binary instruction format that allows code to run at near native speed in web browsers, and it's designed as a portable, efficient, and secure execution environment that can be used as an alternative to JavaScript for performance-intensive tasks. And Flutter is officially supporting this Wasm build. You can do it by yourself when you try to run the Flutter with the Wasm parameter, although it won't work on the Safari and on the Firefox browsers because of the bugs that are on this bugs that Google claim that are bugs in these browsers. So you can actually track those bugs and see the progress, but the progress hasn't been that good lately on that. So I don't know when will that be supported. But on Chrome, I did check myself, and the performance of the animation especially was really good. So some two slides that I took from the Kevin Moore, who is like the project manager of the Flutter Web team, and this is from his Wasm.io talk, and he shared some two benchmarks about the frames per second. That this is like they had the example app, and they were like observing those frames across like different releases of their app. And it was visible that the Wasm builds were much more performant. And they also did make those tests in this Wondrous application example app, and here, like, if we see this P50, this is like a typical frames, and P95%, we see like this extremum, and even on that, the WebAssembly was always faster, and this is like visible by eye, just by looking without the benchmark. When you build your Flutter Web app, it should be faster. It was faster for us, and we have like a really huge app. So I'm really looking forward that it will be more accessible on the Firefox and on the Safari. The Firefox, I think it has like a 3% of market, so maybe not that big, but Safari, I guess it's a bigger issue. If you will want to make your app to be supported on with this Wasm, it wasn't that hard actually, because you just need to switch to use those two packages. There's a package web which replaces the Dart HTML, and the JS interop which replaces the package JS. It's very easy to switch, but although if you have lots of libraries, all of those libraries will have to switch as well, or you will have to make some contribution to those open source libraries, or you will have to make a fork. For us right now, I think it's a blocker to use, because we are using like very obsolete Mapbox library that wasn't updated last 2 years. So this is a thing that is waiting for us to go around. Yeah, some 2 slides more, I think. Who to observe on this Flutter Web if you're interested. This Kevin Moore is a project manager of the Flutter team for the Flutter Web, so he's always saying some new things on that. And in contradiction, there is a guy, Jesse Ezel, mostly on the X, and he's like always finding bugs and bad things in this Flutter Web, so it's always good to show what he's in mind. There's Yegor Ivanov, is from the Flutter team, and he's always a guy who provides solutions to those problems. And we have Kilian Schult, person who is from the Jasper. And the Jasper is one of the interesting topics in this Flutter top world thing that I want to mention. So in JASP, you are not using Flutter, you are using Dart, but you are using this Dart to build the website, which is very the same as the Flutter, like very similar, so to say. And there are some discussions that actually embedding the Flutter Web into this web page that you build with the Jasper is much more pleasant and performant than actually trying to put it in the regular HTML. Other interesting topic, the automated test. I did spend lots of time trying to find a solution for that, for this talk. I've checked Patrol, Playwright, Maestro. Nothing is actually supporting it yet. I think Maestro is saying that maybe they will support it in the future. You could do like a regular integration test, although I did have some problems with that previously. For example, my builds were being crashed, or I had problems with configuring it on the CodeMagic, so it wasn't very easy to go around. All right. I think I want to summarize this. Although I did share lots of things that we fixed and lots of things that are not the perfect. We are still using the Flutter Web because we find it beneficial for our use case. We have a small team, not that much developers. So for us to have the possibility of share this code base between those two platforms and experiment with new features, have some A/B tests on our users, this gives us really high value. That's why we are still sticking to it and believe in this Flutter Web, although we do know it's a niche. If we will have be a bigger company, I think we could consider switching into like a regular JS framework. But for now, for us, it's working really, really good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafał, for your insights. And this is really valuable talk, especially that Flutter Web is something that a lot of people look for. Yeah, so this is Q&A session right now. So if you have any questions to Rafał, I believe that all of you have some questions. Who would like to ask something? Okay.
Thanks for amazing talk. I would like to ask a few things. So since you already have a web, have you thought ever to try desktop version? Because usually desktop and web, they have similarities between at least how it's look in Flutter application. So of course, behind the scenes, maybe some different things and so on, but maybe it's also beneficial to provide like completely multi-platform, so everything, Linux, Windows, and so on.
Yeah, it's a good question. We were considering it, but I do think that the support of the desktop libraries is even smaller. And you can see, like for example, in here in web, I did show lots of issues, and I do think that there is like a less priority from the Flutter team even to work on the desktop platforms. So I haven't checked. I haven't tried to like actually build it because our dependencies are not letting us, because they are not supporting it. I don't remember which one right now. I can check. But this thing that the Flutter team would support it even in a small way, I don't think that there is a project manager responsible strictly for the desktop team. Maybe I'm wrong. And for the web, I do know that they are putting lots of resources into it. So that's why we haven't released that yet. Yeah.
Thanks. And one more question. You mentioned Jasper. As far as I heard, it's aimed to be from point of view of syntaxes similar to Flutter, but for me interesting how they work behind the scene under the hood. Do they render to HTML, or they have something like Flutter engine, for example, have some graphic framework which draw everything?
It's a good question. I just put it in the interesting topic. I haven't tried that myself, so I really don't know.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is one question for the third row.
Is there a reason why emojis on web are black and white and not color by default?
I believe, I'm just talking from the head, like we are trying to download every time we are entering the Flutter. This is because that's why we are waiting like few seconds, the Flutter engine. So I think maybe they are trying to limit the overall size, what we want to actually download. Maybe emojis from some reason have like a bigger amount of this data. But this is, I'm just talking from my head. They did close this issue, but it's still existing from some reason. So I'm just thinking this way, yeah.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, I think there is no more. But any time and this short break, the Rafał is at your disposal to ask more questions in private, right?
Yep.
Thank you, Rafał, again for your talk.
Thank you very much.